Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. We got a mini episode today, solo episode for me here. Gonna just talk about this crazy change you can see on the screen. Gonna scroll through the comments of this post as well. But if you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. I don't know if I'm gonna upload this one on Spotify and the audio platforms. This is just gonna be a short little solo episode. But we got some big news to talk about. You guys can see it. I'm on Twitter here. I'm gonna scroll through the replies, but if you guys do enjoy this one, we do a podcast every Monday with me and my two co-hosts, Brock and Brad. But just going to be me, Ryan, today talking about this move. I mean, this is crazy. Skyz has been benched for OpTic Texas, and unconfirmed Mercules is rumored to fill his spot. So I would say this isn't like the most shocking move if it happened a couple weeks ago. Like, Mercules had an awesome debut event. He filled in, was able to get a top 3, played awesome, almost had like a 1.1 on the weekend, and was just making plays, was the hard carry on a lot of maps, and looked to be a breakout player. Thoughts maybe he takes Bean's spot in the roster. Some people thinking that. Obviously, that doesn't take place. Bean's able to get his spot back, and, probably rightfully so. But just crazy that this is now happening because, like I said, I think they tried to buy him out, was the rumor, like post Major 3, but there may have been some contractual issues. Maybe Ultra not willing to give him up. Maybe Ultra thinking, hey, if Bean struggles and the team doesn't look as good as they did at the Major, maybe they make the switch. But, Ultra's been pretty good all year, so making that change, I understand why they wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, this is crazy because of the timing. Like, you waited until like you 3-0'd Surge and looked probably the best OpTic have looked since they were the 1 seed back all the way in stage 1 with a completely different roster that had Huke and Kenny on it. This is the best that OpTic looked in one series. Granted, like I just said, it's one series, so a lot could change. I mean, they started 2-0 in the online qualifiers for Major 3, and everybody was like, okay, OpTic was back. I was thinking, hey, this team's turning a corner with Skyz. They're figuring it out, and then from there on, they just pretty much bottomed out the rest of the stage, and they just did not look at all the same as they did, prior in those first 2 matches in Major 3. This change, I personally like it. We just talked on the pod yesterday, if you guys want to check that out, about how OpTic seemed to be turning a corner with Skyz, and they're looking better, but we also kind of mentioned how, like, it's hard to trust that. Like, do they look really good? Yes. Could they continue to do that? Yes, because, I mean, these are 4 world champs, like Dashy, Skyz, shottzyy, huke. These are all very good players who have a long history of winning. So they could continue to do that because they're 4 talented players. But at the same time, they've shown us, like I said, early in Major 3 when they looked pretty good, and then it kind of fell off. And it's hard to trust that this is going to be able to continue. I mean, I think Surge could be having a little bit of a hangover from losing back-to-back finals in kind of dominant fashion like they did. And OpTic has a good series. Obviously, they're probably seeing something in practice that maybe they don't trust that can be something consistent. Because even like Karma, I believe he said on Scump's watch party, like he seemed pretty surprised at the fact that they dominated Surge like that, which is like not something you want to hear out of your coach necessarily. Like, surprised that you dominated. You want it to be like, yeah, I mean, we prepared for this, and we expected to get this done and win this. So yeah, this is a crazy move, but I like the move because I think once again it raises their ceiling. I don't think anybody can sit here, even with the way they looked in their 1 match against Surge. I don't think anybody can realistically sit here and be like, you know what, at Major 4 in just 3 weeks from now, and then at Champs just a few weeks after that, OpTic could take down Thieves, FaZe, or even realistically Surge. I know they just beat them, but like when it comes to LAN and how good Surge has looked making back-to-back finals, like I don't know if anybody truly believes this OpTic team could have a realistic shot to have a weekend where they take down both FaZe and Thieves to win a tournament. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do that with the pickup of Mercules. I don't necessarily think that, oh my god, all of a sudden OpTic's top 3, they're better than Surge, they could beat FaZe and Thieves. But I do think it raises their ceiling because Merc has a little bit of untapped potential. He can kind of speed it up. He is more of a natural flex that can fill that role, where Skyz and Dashy was kind of maybe a bit of a clunky fit. But, I figured that those 2 could find a way to make it work because 2 veteran experienced world champs. But I like the pickup of Merc because also, like I said, don't think you're winning this year with Skyz on the roster with the way it was currently constructed. Don't necessarily know that you win with Merc either, but I think you at least raise your ceiling. And like we've talked about on the podcast before, like we were begging for Miami to put in Super all year, because we're like, you're not winning with Lucky anyways, so raise the ceiling. Same thing when Carolina picked up Rex. Who knows if it's going to work out, but hey, at least try to raise your ceiling. This is the same thing that OpTic is doing. They're trying to raise their ceiling. Merc gives you a potential like superstar player because we saw, maybe there's some superstar potential there. Maybe there's not. Maybe he joins a team and he doesn't perform well and they stay the same or even get worse. The way I look at it, if you stay the same or you get worse, it was worth a try because you weren't winning with Skyz. That's the way I see it. Gonna scroll through the comments a little bit here, see what other people are saying, see if there's anything we want to comment on here. Got our boy Jake Maverick. Oh man, here we go. This is kind of funny. Chelly waited until Caesar played his best series to make this move. Still, I think the move still makes sense, but I do think it's hilarious that they did wait until he played his arguably best series on OpTic to make the move. Kind of funny in a weird way there. They waited until then to make the move. Shit, here we go again. A little meme. Little Draymond. We got the gifts flying out. OpTic fans. One regular day of Barclays. That's all I asked for. Will never happen. Yeah, that's typical this year for OpTic. One regular day. Nah, we're just making constant roster changes. Preds randomly getting dropped 2 weeks into the season. Not again. I'm ready for the same people who slammed OpTic for not making the change after the major to now flip the script and hate OpTic for making it. I don't know. Like, I think a lot of people were like, they should probably make a change, but, they didn't expect them to because Merc was really the only obvious change, and it didn't seem like that was going to happen. Most prestigious COD org turning into a circus. It's kind of funny because, OpTic is, like, obviously one of the most storied, prestigious COD organizations, and they have had some just crazy luck really since, like, I'd say Vanguard, basically. They win an event, illey thumb goes down, it's kind of a pro loot comes in, it's just a messed up year. Illey comes back later in the year, then you go into the next year in MW2, they re-pick up illey, but then they have to drop him, and then Scump retires, and then into MW, and then they go into MW3, they end up having to pick up, like, Pred and Kenny, and it's like, maybe it's going to go well, maybe it's not. They win champs. It's just been it's a circus up before MW3, an absolute circus. Then we got, for those NBA fans, post-victory roster changes, classic OpTic. I believe this is the GM of the Mavs who traded away Luka. But yeah, some interesting comments there. I'm excited to see what people have to say about it through the rest of the day as things go along, because obviously, like, it is not officially announced as of right now when I'm recording this, so it could fall through technically. We heard, like, early in the year, maybe Real was going to OpTic or something, and that fell through. We've seen things fall through before, but let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments on Mercules headed to OpTic for Skyz. Once again, I don't know that they're all of a sudden going to become amazing, but I like the move because they're at least trying to raise their ceiling and, go for it all, which you got to do at this time of year. You got to go for it all with a chance to win major foreign champs. It's the time of year to go for it all. If you guys did enjoy this, be sure to check us out on the regular long form podcast on Monday. We got me, my longtime co-host Brock, and then we just added a new co-host, Brad. So we do a podcast every Monday night, usually more long form, like an hour long, doing power rankings, predicting matches, talking about the previous week of matches, sometimes fun random segments like drafts and all that. So if you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next week in the podcast.